Did this whole submersible getting lost in the Titanic wreckage thing kind of mess you up a little bit? I think this was the first time that I was really like, oh my God, like this is actually horrendous. There are news stories in the past that are bad, of course, but this one actually hit the world kind of hard. I think the reason that it hit so hard was because we all experienced some kind of like deep empathy in this situation. Most of the time, I think somebody would say that we experience sympathy, which is kind of like synthesizing what we think other people's feelings feel like. But did you actually feel claustrophobic while this was going on? Did you actually feel the panic that was probably going on inside of that thing? I know I did. It was not a comfortable feeling. I kept thinking about it and I was simulating my own self being in there, and it didn't feel like a simulation. I feel like my body was experiencing some of it on some small level. And I feel like the rest of the world was kind of in that place too. I feel like everybody who was keeping up with this news was actually feeling something pretty similar to everybody else who was keeping up with that news. I feel like a lot of humanity had a collective moment of understanding just how awful this must have actually been. Now, I know we don't really know what the actual story was. Maybe they did spend a lot of time in the capsule before things kind of imploded. Awful situation, but maybe they were dealing with that for a while. I think it probably would have been better, unfortunately, if they just went down and things ended very quickly and they didn't have to suffer through multiple days of being in this terrible experience. But for a moment there, weren't we all kind of picturing and almost feeling what it would have been like to be inside that cold submarine in pitch blackness with absolutely no light whatsoever, just waiting out the clock, running out of oxygen for 4 days, being with people that you don't know, being deep under the sea with no communication with the outside world in a cold, tiny submersible the size of a minivan with potentially no hope for rescue? I think those feelings kind of all hit us right in the heart this time. If they didn't hit you that way, all right, this video is not really for you. But for the people that it did hit that way, you weren't alone. This was a moment where we really got to understand the humanity of a situation like this and how much this situation kind of sucks just no matter what happened. I think this is kind of proof that we're all good somewhere deep inside of us. It was a moment of being able to really see the humanity in a situation and have some kind of understanding of how terrible the situation actually was for the people that were on board. If I can argue anything in this terrible situation, it's that we remember that humanity actually exists and that other people are out there feeling things. We need to take our ability to be able to empathize in a situation like this and apply that empathy to absolutely everything else that we experience in life and the way that we bring ourselves to the world. We affect people with the way that we are in this world, and we need to remember the effect that we're actually having on people. When you're out there being however you're being in the world, just remember that there's a human being on the other side of that interaction that is feeling something based on the interaction that you both are having. I'm not going to say that you're 100% responsible for everything they feel because that's just not true. All I'm saying is to understand the energy that you're bringing to that situation and kind of make sure that it's a good energy and try to make sure that the effect that you're leaving behind is a generally positive one. Tying this back in with the submersible situation, please just understand that humanity actually truly feels things when things go on. And we all felt the same feelings in this situation. We got proof of that because one situation was happening and so many of us felt exactly the same way. Trapped, panicked, afraid, and hopeless. What you were feeling is probably pretty close to what I was feeling, and what I was feeling is probably pretty close to what almost all of us were feeling. This is all proof that humanity actually feels things and that we actually care. So while unfortunately we lost these 5 adventurers, I hope the things that we gain are things that we can bring out there into the real world and use in their memory. Now we can all think back to the time where we all had this collective emotion, and we can remember that humanity has this one big ball of emotion that we all kind of feel when things happen. And we need to take that memory and bring that to the way that we choose to affect the world in our everyday lives. I don't know, I guess I'm just trying to say that this was a moment to actually see the humanity in people and have a little bit of our own faith in humanity restored to know that so many other people were feeling exactly the way that we were. And remember that everyone we come in contact with has emotions that were active during this situation, which means that they have emotions that are active always. It's just so we have to remember to be careful about the energy that we bring out there into the world. Because while we all felt this, when we choose to broadcast our energy a certain way, we are going to have an effect on the way that someone feels. And for moments in this world where terrible things are happening, remember that in most cases, humanity kind of bands together and faces that problem as a unit. Our souls and hearts and minds all kind of sync up for a moment where we all feel the same thing. That's why we need to bring positive energy out into this world. Let this be proof that humanity has emotions and that those emotions are awake. And just be mindful about the energy that you're bringing to interactions that you have with other people, because they feel stuff, because we're all soft, squishy humans on the inside. Even the rudest, meanest, hardest, angriest versions of us. We're all just soft, squishy humans. To the families that lost somebody in this terrible situation, I'm so sorry. Just know that the world was with you, and we still are. And for the families of the people in Ukraine that have lost someone recently, I'm so sorry. Just know that the world is with you. To anybody who's lost anybody, I'm so sorry. and the world is with you. This situation was just proof for me that humanity's feelings are active, and we feel as a unit sometimes. We all have to make sure that we're taking care of each other, because at the end of the day, we're just one gigantic ball of vibes floating through space at however many thousands of miles an hour, and we're all experiencing this stuff together. Tapping into those vibes shows us that every human has the potential to feel those things. So just be mindful of the energy that you're bringing out there into the world, because this is what a vibe is. This is something that emits and a lot of people feel. That's a vibe. This one happened to be a bad one, but you can be responsible for good ones. You can help uplift the world. Just remember that you are needed on this planet, you personally, and I hope that you choose to bring a beautiful, positive message out there into the world, a message that only you can offer. Just get clear on your message, bring your beautiful personal self out there into the world, and help make this world a better place with just who you are as a person. Remember, do something that makes the world a better place this week. People need you. You are the better echo. Subscribe, like, get a sticker at the link below, or watch one of these, and I'll see you next time.